notes this week. For 7 days in a row, I went to the New York Times website and I read the main headline that was there and the accompanying article so that I could get in the habit of reading the news, and especially reading things that are longer than tweets about the news. I'm not going to go through every article that I read, but I listed the sort of topics that they were about. Day 1, I read an article about low-income housing. I read an article about North Korea. Day 3 was about a police shooting. Day 4 was about Trump in Poland. Day 5 was about the G20. Day 6 was about specifically the climate stuff at the G20. Then on Sunday, I read the weekend briefing. One of the reasons I kind of avoid the news is that I just get so upset when I read and think and hear about Trump. And I just have to say that, first of all, not every single one of those articles was about Trump. And even the ones that were kind of about him, his name was like hardly in the headlines. He was in the headline of the one about him being in Poland. It's just a reminder that like there's a lot of things happening besides the things that Trump is tweeting about. Every news story is not about what he's doing in his day-to-day life to make everyone mad. Here are some themes about my week of reading. First of all, yep, the articles feel long. I read to the end of every one. I found myself skimming a lot, and then I would make myself stop and like go through and read it. That's why I was taking notes, to make sure that I was actually understanding what was happening each paragraph. Everyone always talks about how our attention spans are so short because of the internet, and I don't know if our attention spans have become shorter, but I think that it is good to have a long attention span, especially because I like reading. So I think this is a good practice of paying attention to something for more than 30 seconds at a time. Yeah, so this was interesting. I noticed it. I wrote down the headline and the byline of every article that I read, and I noticed that not a single one had just one name, which is super cool and makes a ton of sense. Journalism is so important, and it was just like an affirmation of how important and how hard of work they're doing to know that there's like a team of people behind every article. Like, it took me 10 minutes to read maybe, max, and they spent hours and hours on it. I felt really good after reading each article. Like, I walked away understanding more about the issue than I had beforehand. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that it was a great experience to read articles by smart people who did hard work and research, and it made me a better person, and that is worth thinking about. I'd like to do this again with other news outlets. If you have suggestions of other news outlets I should spend a week reading, let me know. Very tired today.